They said witches were gone, that the fires burned out, the gallows fell silent, and the world had learned its lesson. But fear never dies. It just changes its face. For centuries, the word witch was the spark that lit thousands of pyres. It began with whispers, of spells, of storms, of souls sold to the devil. But it was never about magic. It was about control. In the shadows of Europe, fear wore the mask of faith. The church called it purification. The people called it justice. But what they were really burning was their own reflection. Every torch that lit the sky was a confession, an admission that humanity would rather destroy what it fears than understand it. When the flames rose, they didn't only consume bodies, they consumed reason. They turned doubt into sin and silence into survival. From the villages of Germany to the fields of Essex, from Bamberg to Salem, one truth echoed. The witch was never chosen for her power. She was chosen for her defiance. A woman who healed without permission. A man who spoke against the crowd. A priest who asked too many questions. Fear doesn't care who it burns, only that the flames keep rising. The witch hunts were never random. They followed patterns: famine, war, sickness, uncertainty. When life became unpredictable, people searched for meaning, for order, for someone to blame. It was easier to believe in witches than in chaos. Easier to call misfortune the devil's work than to face the truth that the world is fragile and our control over it is small. And so, the trials began. Confessions pulled from the tortured, names whispered under pain. One accusation became 10, 10 became hundreds. The witch hunts fed on themselves, a wildfire of fear that turned neighbor against neighbor. You didn't need to be guilty, you only needed to be different. A scar, a birthmark, a dream. Anything could damn you. Every age has its witch hunt. In 1692, it was the devil. In 1645, it was the Witchfinder General. In 1628, it was the mayor who dared to doubt. And today, it's anyone who refuses to think the same. The methods change. No rope, no fire, no confession under torture, but the pattern stays the same. Fear points the finger. Faith lights the match, and reason stays silent. The Witchfinder General, Matthew Hopkins, proved how powerful fear could be when given authority. He was not a priest, not a king, just a man who claimed he could see evil. He spoke softly, quoted scripture, and let paranoia do the rest. Hundreds died because he needed to believe that righteousness could come from cruelty. He died believing he had served God. But in truth, he had only served fear. And then came Salem. A village so small, so fragile, that even a whisper could destroy it. It began with the twitch of a child, a scream, a name. Within months, neighbors turned to enemies. The court accepted dreams as evidence. The devil didn't need to exist. Fear played his role perfectly. 19 hanged, 1 pressed to death, dozens left to rot, and still the villagers believed they were saving their souls. When Giles Corey was crushed beneath stones, he spoke 2 words: more weight. Not in defiance of God, but in defiance of the lie that fear could ever prove truth. His words outlived the gallows, a haunting reminder that silence in the face of injustice is heavier than any stone. We like to think we're wiser now, that we've outgrown superstition. But look closer. The witch hunts never ended. They just changed their name. They moved from the streets and courtrooms to screens and headlines. Every time we destroy a person with rumor instead of rope, we repeat the same ritual. Every time we silence someone for being different, we cast the same spell our ancestors did. The oldest one humanity ever knew, the spell of fear. Fear doesn't vanish with time. It adapts. It finds new language. Once it spoke through sermons and trials. Now it hides behind algorithms and outrage. We call it justice, accountability, morality, but at its core, it's still the same hunger for control. We still build fires. We just use different fuel. The real witches of history were never monsters. They were reminders that power doesn't need permission, that knowledge can be dangerous, and that courage is its own kind of magic. They lived and died proving that fear cannot coexist with freedom. And though their names are forgotten, their defiance lingers, quiet, unbroken, waiting for someone to listen. So when you hear the word witch, don't think of fire. Think of a whisper that refused to die. Think of a voice that dared to question the unthinkable. Because the truth about witches was never burned. It only waits, in the dark, for someone brave enough to listen. Every age tells itself that it's different, that it has outgrown the mistakes of the past. But history is a mirror, and the reflection rarely changes. Whenever fear rises, it searches for a name, a face, a reason. And the people, desperate for safety, offer it one. Maybe the witch was never the enemy. Maybe the witch was the mirror itself, showing us how far we'll go to silence what we don't understand. The witch hunts ended long ago, but the fear that fed them still walks among us. We just call it by different names. The fires are gone. The gallows have rotted. But the echo remains, and in that echo there's a warning. Every time fear demands obedience, a new witch hunt begins. The witch hunts were never about magic. They were about us. The witch hunts ended. The fear never did.